questions to start.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and other members of the committee. I appreciate the indulgence. We have the administrator for the EPA in the next room, and I'm supposed to start that hearing right now. So if I may just ask one quick question,
Sure.
And I will submit others for the record. And this relates to our ability as a nation to be prepared, to be resilient in the Arctic. As you know, the United States assumed the chair of the Arctic Council on Friday. I was with Secretary Kerry when we were up in Iqaluit, Canada, and there's a great expectation for us as a nation to assume the roles, the responsibilities, the obligations as an Arctic nation. But it's kind of tough to do that when you can't move when you need to, whether it's for a search and rescue operation, whether it's to help our maritime commerce moving through waters that are now more open. And it comes down to our ice-breaking capacity as a nation. As you know, we have the Polar Star. The Polar Star is our one full-strength icebreaker, and she is on assignment to Antarctica for the next 5 years. When she's done, she comes back, and theoretically, we would have the opportunity to have her in the Arctic, but her useful life is between 6 to 8 years from now. We are woefully behind. China has more icebreakers than the United States. Russia has 3 and 4 times more than we have here in the United States. And I understand that this is a question of funding priorities. And I appreciate full well what the chairman of the full committee has noted in terms of cutter priorities for our Coast Guards and the importance of getting that 9th cutter going. And no, Mr. Chairman, that I'm entirely with you there. But Mr. Secretary, I need to figure out how we build this path forward for not only one icebreaker, but the 6 that have been recommended in the study that has been done. We know what we need. We don't need to spend more money on studies. We've got $4 million in the request here for initial acquisition activities for a new polar icebreaker. It takes 10 years to build one. Funding is an issue, we all know that, but it's also ensuring that is a priority. And I noted in your comments, and as well as your prepared comments, there is no mention of what we need to do in the Arctic, short of a reference to permafrost thawing. So I need to hear from you what you believe we might be able to do to step it up, to assume those responsibilities that we have in the Arctic, and more specifically to the need to how we might be able to expedite construction of a polar icebreaker.
Senator, I have, in 16 months in office, become very committed to our ice-breaking mission, particularly in the Arctic. You're correct that there is $4 million for pre-acquisition activities. I believe that we need to get to a new icebreaker. I also believe we need to carefully look at what can be done with the Polar Sea. I know the importance to commerce and to straight maritime security of an icebreaker, and not just the big ones you referred to, but the smaller fleet as well performs a valuable service in places like the Hudson River, for example, near where I grew up. And so you're correct that the Polar Star is years and years old, and we need to do something about that. So I'm interested in recapitalizing and rebuilding the entire Coast Guard fleet, but I do recognize the importance of having the right number of icebreakers for our Coast Guard. And I note the fact that China and Russia have been able to fund a number of icebreakers, and I know the great value there is in having very large icebreakers to free up commerce and to basically save people and pull them out of the ice.
Well, know that I'm going to continue to press on it if we can work with you and your team. Obviously, we are with the Coast Guard, but I think this has to be cross-agencies in terms of how we're going to place priority on this, so I look forward to working with you. I do have a couple other questions, Mr. Chairman, that I will submit for the record, but I thank you for your indulgence in giving me this opportunity.